Welcome to week 3 of Seafoam Season 2 Draft League. This is Reich with a commentary debut here with the battle between Colin of the New York Gladiators versus Charlie of Elborough. Coming into this game, both teams are 1-0 and are both looking to get moving themselves into the winning column. On Colin's side of the team, he brings Dugtrio, Tapacoco, Vaporeon, Latios, Type Null, and Mega Gallade. In this game, he has neglected to bring his Z Superior or his Z Attack Drapion. Charlie, on the other hand, has opted to bring Volcarona, Thunderous Eye, Registeel, Ditto, Pelipper, and Mega Swampert. He has brought the Thunderous Eye, his Z user, but has neglected to bring the Z Attack Bramble. Looking at this matchup, we have two very offensively focused teams. Colin has opted to bring his Dugtrio, his unique Trapper in this situation, alongside his pivoting core of Tapacoco. Alongside him, he's brought his hard hitters in Latios and Mega Gallade. There's a lot of wall-breaking power in this team, but it also brings a little bit of bulk in the mixture of Vaporeon and Type Null. Charlie, on the other hand, has gone for a very offensive build. He's brought his Rain Core of Pelipper and Mega Swampert, Thundy Eye, Volcarona, and the anti-offense mon that is Ditto. His main bulk is supplemented through his Registeel, which we might suspect is his main check to Latios. Looking at the matchup, Charlie's Rain Core may pose a big threat to Colin, as his main water resists are Vaporeon and Latios, both of which Swampert can wear down with both Earthquake and Ice Punch respectively. Corona also poses a big threat. After a Quiver Dance, a +1 Energy Ball can do a large chunk to Vaporeon and may do a lot of damage to Colin's team. Thunderous Eye also has a fairly decent matchup, with very few electric resists on Colin's team. On the reverse hand, Dugtrio poses a big threat to his Registeel, which may allow his Latios more open into the game. And Charlie has main electric resist, being his Mega Swampert, is weak to Colin's Tapacoco. Overall, I think both teams have a nice blend of defensive mons that have good matchups against the oppositions. It will all come down to play of the bulky mons, whether they can pivot in and out, and how well both players can get into their offensive mons, set up, and score KOs. From here on, I will play the game. Big matchup wise, I think for Charlie, it is a very safe bet to lead either Registeel or Pelipper. Registeel has a good matchup against the majority of Colin's team outside of the Gallade and the Dugtrio. However, it may want to prevent the risk of being trapped by its reliability bringing up Stealth Rocks. Pelipper, on the other hand, immediately sets up Rain and can pivot out on any mon on Colin's team. Colin may opt to lead with his Tapacoco, a fast option with a good match against most of Charlie's team to allow him to pivot out. And the match shall begin. So, the matchup begins. We see on Colin's side, he does opt to bring his Tapacoco, whereas Charlie brings in his Volcarona. Immediately, I do expect Coco to pivot out into Vaporeon, a bulky threat. However, Charlie opts to bring in his Ditto to copy Tapacoco, allowing it to resist a Thunderbolt. Colin switches out into his Type Null, as Charlie opts to go for a U-turn out. Charlie here regains momentum and will likely look to bring in something against this potentially passive. Registeel comes in. It's likely Registeel will want to opt for a status move or for rocks here. Colin will try and get into an offensive threat and go straight into his Dugtrio, essentially trapping this Registeel. Registeel connects the Toxic into Dugtrio, but it's very likely that this Dugtrio will have trapped Registeel. Registeel has Registeel leftovers, not Jedshell. This Registeel will likely be going down, and this will be opening up the game for Colin's Latios. With Registeel down, there are no dragon resists to Latios' stabs, and as long as Colin can control the speed tiers around the Volcarona, the Thunderous, and the Swampert, Latios will have a good matchup here. Registeel opts to protect to try and wear down Dugtrio. This exchange will most likely will go with double down. However, the loss of Registeel is more valuable to Colin in this situation, in my opinion. And with that, Dugtrio secures the first KO of the game. While also feigning to Toxic. Both players will come into a safe switch. I am predicting a type null lead here for Colin, as it has a good match against most of his team if it is a Dialite bulky method. Charlie opts to go here for Ditto, likely scouting for whatever Mon, looking through the movesets to whatever Mon Colin wants to bring in. Time null U-turns out, getting momentum into Charlie's Swampert. Colin opts to do the same, likely going out to either his Vaporeon or his Tapu Koko. He goes into his Tapu Koko. This likely suggests he is carrying Grass Knot for the Swampert. It's in Charlie's best interest to potentially scout this, however he's opted to stay in. Tapu Koko, predicting a switch, goes for a U-turn and goes straight into the safe option of Vaporeon. Charlie goes for the aggressive play and goes for an Earthquake and does a large chunk to Vaporeon. Vaporeon reveals here leftovers and is likely bringing a Witch Protect instead. Charlie goes into his Ditto, likely to utilize the Water Absorb. However, Ditto is in a precarious situation here, as if it is a Scarf Ditto, may be forced to click a Water type move here. However, both Vaporeons opt to go for a Wish, getting momentum and passing status into their teammates. We see Charlie here opt to pass the Wish into his Swampert, as Colin pulls a double into his Tapu Koko. I suspect Tapu Koko may go for a Grass Knot here, looking to KO the Swampert, and I expect Charlie to scout for this move. He indeed does scout for the move, heading into his Thunderous. Is indeed a Grass Knot coming in, and Thunderous takes a minimal amount from that. I expect a switch here from Colin, worrying for the poison coverage move. Goes into his Titanal. However, Charlie pulls a good double into his Pelipper to regain momentum. Pelipper here is free to click U-turn and regain momentum. Charlie. However, he opts to go for a Scald to get more damage onto Type Null, hopefully wearing it down more for his Mons later on. Type Null goes for a U-turn here, pivoting out into a threat. I suspect Tapu Koko coming in here. Goes into his Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko with Registeel down and Worn down and gone has a lot less checks, considering Swampert does not want to be taking a Grass up from its Koko. Koko pivots out here with a U-turn, very free. Volcarona is on the field now, but with rain up, its fire stabs have been reduced. Titanal has definitely revealed overall it's quite a bulky set, and I anticipate that it'll be taking any hit from this Volcarona. He switches out into his Ditto, probably scouting for the Rock type coverage. He does indeed show Rock Slide, that does a decent chunk to Ditto. Ditto is getting worn down a lot this game and will struggle to continue coming in. Ditto goes for a Scarf Rock Slide, as I suspect a U-turn here from Colin. He does indeed U-turn, getting good chip on the Ditto and allowing him to pivot out. This has allowed him to go safely into his Gallade with Putnell locked into Scarf rock side. Gallade here, potentially with a Psychic Stab or a coverage move, could do a large numbers of damage to Charlie's team. He goes to his Thunders, and Gallade opts to go for a Poison Jab, doing 46%. This will look to T-Hit KO Thundurus if it is a slower variant. Thundurus may retaliate with a electric move or HP Fine, but it reveals that Gallade is faster than Thundurus. Thundurus is going down. This really opens up the game for Colin. Thundurus was one of his better checks to knocking out Vaporeon, and without it, both his Volcarona and Swampert will struggle to break down his water. Ditto goes here to copy Gallade. However, Gallade reveals Shadow Sneak and picks off the Ditto. It appears that Charlie's last hopes here may be a potential Swampert setup and sweep. However, the match is looking more and more in Colin's favour. He brings out Volcarona, likely to set the Quiver Dance, but with Putnell's bulk, I anticipate it will live one and KO in return the Volcarona. Volcarona goes for the Quiver Dance. Bug Boss bounces off Putnell, only doing 37% of damage. Can Putnell connect its Rock Slide? Can indeed, and OHKOs the Volcarona, leaving just the Rain Core. This Putnell has taken many hits, vital for Colin's team against the offensive threats of Charlie. Pelipper comes back in here, setting up the Rain for one last ditch Swampert sweep. However, Colin looks to preserve his differential, goes into his Vaporeon, taking the Water Absorb and going back full into a healthy range. However, Vaporeon is in a position here, he can't do a large amount to both of these waters. I would expect a double, potentially a pivoting move or a double switch from Colin to gain some initiative. Charlie pivots out into his Mega Swampert, looking here to go for one last sweep. However, Colin opts to go for a Wish, likely pivoting out this turn and passing the Wish to keep his Mon healthy. I'm likely expecting probably the Latios coming in, potentially. However, he opts to stay in, and he chooses the Earthquake. Flip turns out here, actually. Probably into his Latios. Latios comes in safely. A Scarf Latios will outspeed a max speed Swampert in rain. Will this be the set that Colin has opted to bring? He doesn't need to bring the Scarf Latios. OHKOs with Energy Ball, and is very likely to clean up the game here. Yes. Overall, that was a quick offensive game, with both players looking to make switches, lots of pivoting moves between the Koko, the Ditto, the Vaporeon. However, it was the Dugtrio and the Typenol that has really broken down Charlie's core team, knocking out that Registeel early on, and Typenol dealing with both the Thundurus and the Volcarona that has allowed Latios to sweep here. So, with one last Energy Ball, it appears Latios will win the game. Colin moves on this week with a 2-1 record, as Charlie falls to a 1-2 record. Thank you for sticking around with my commentary debut. This has been week 3 of Seafoam Miles, and I wish you the best.